Good evening, everyone. If you'd stand and join me in a pledge to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, wait a minute. I have let's see, two add-ons to the agenda. Resolution to approve water contract between Town of Royalton and Town of Shelby, and a resolution to approve local law number 1 of 2024 of the public comment meeting we just had, rezoning 11697 Sanderson Road. And public forum regarding agenda items only. Anyone? Make sure the mic's on, speak into it.
It's working? Okay. My name is Jeff Smith. I want to speak to the water contract. In early 2019, the Village of Medina was paying Niagara County around 70 cents per 1,000 gallons of water. The village was charging the town of Shelby $3.94 per 1,000 gallons. The town of Shelby board at that time felt the residents were paying too much for water, so we tried to take some action. With Resolution 5819, we hired MRB for $19,650 to look at the water service on the west end of the town, sourced from Royalton. The report results from MRB were that there was not a viable way we could reduce the rates our residents were paying. Fast forward to the middle of 2019, Medina was increased, I think, around 90 cents per 1,000 gallons by Niagara County, and told the town of Shelby our new rate would be $5.97. So that's about a $2 increase when they got increased about 20 cents. Shelby had to raise the rates for outside the village residents and did so with Resolution 7719. The rates were increased as of October 2019 and were reflected in the February 2020. That was the first bill that was affected by that. The Shelby board at the time was unhappy about this, and at some point we had MRB look at a water project to get water from Albion. Even though we'd endured a very substantial increase, MRB felt we could not get our residents water much cheaper. COVID hit, Supervisor Hausnick resigned, but the Shelby board and the Highway Superintendent Dale Root kept trying to find a way for our residents to have cheaper water. We looked at a project involving most of the towns east of us using water from Albion. This was a complicated project and did not work out either. I merely mention all these just to show that the board has been actively working, trying to reduce the water rates for our residents. We've been dumping about 3.3 million gallons a year at the end of Freeman Road water line to keep chlorine levels in the correct range. This has cost about $25,000 per year. Dale Root had asked Mayor Sederi several times to let us open the connection between Royalton and Shelby on Freeman Road as a test to avoid wasting all that water. Shelby was willing to pay Medina the rate we were paying for the water, but wanted to avoid the dead end which caused the chlorine level drop. Dale did not get cooperation on this issue after I think like 4 or 5 tries. In August of 22, Councilman Steve Seitz and I was supervisor at that time, met with Mayor Sederi, Councilperson Sherman and Toll, and I don't remember the lady's name from the bookkeeper for the village at the time. At the end of this meeting, the village had agreed to look into how Shelby was being charged for water, and I felt we had some good faith agreement to reduce our rates. Am I running out of time? What's that? Done? Okay. I'll jump back in later. Okay.
Jeff? Okay. Anyone else? No, I'm trying to remember your first name.
Jim Hemingway.
Jim. I knew it was Hemingway. I couldn't remember if it was Jim.
Got the first, second right. Sorry I wasn't here for the last meeting at MRB's presentation, had to review that later. But it seems to me that, I was just one question I wanted to make sure that both groups, MRB and the other engineering group that you've looked at, have talked about substantial costs in sourcing this. Those costs don't seem to be eligible for any kind of help, at least short term. That means that the town is going to have to substantially invest to save themselves a little bit of money. Now, yes, it's a substantial amount of money, but you're spending way more than you're ever going to recover, at least what I can see. I'd like to see some numbers that show me how you can spend $3 to $5 to $8 million and reduce the cost of the water enough to pay for that. The other thing I'd like to find out is if you decide to move forward on this, and you seem to be pretty well agreed that you want to do this, that any money spent in that manner goes against the water districts of Shelby and does not impact everybody in the Shelby. So people that are in the village should not have to bear any part of the cost of what you're looking to do. So, you know, if you proceed with this and you plan to spend millions of dollars, I really, first of all, would like to see something in writing on how you can balance the numbers out to make it worthwhile. And I'd like to see, you know, here you are already, you got an agreement that you're going to bring in and nobody's seen it. Will there be a public hearing on the agreement? Thanks.
Anyone else? Come on up. State your name.
Andrea Walton, I was at the special meeting on March 28th, and I just would like a little clarification. From what was being said by MRB, they were discussing the pump situation that would have to be built at West Shelby Road. Is that capable of servicing all of the town of Shelby with those improvements, is one question. And the next question is, if indeed it is capable of doing that, or if for a similar price we are able to service all of the town of Shelby, why are we not entertaining that rather than trying to split between the village of Medina and the town of Royalton? Seems to me that the village of Medina has been getting away with quite a bit in the last 5 years, and nobody stood up to them.
Thank you. And, okay, John.
John Parada. I agree with Mr. Hemingway. Yeah, where you've got all this proposal going on and working back up. Is it really feasible at the end of a $5 million project? That how are we going to make out? This is just personal for me. My water, all I paid last year, 1 year, was $175 for water at my house. So I mean, to me, I've never heard anybody really say that the water is expensive. But I had to pay. I know you got, but I just go along with what Mr. Hemingway says. We need to look at this more before you start getting into a contract or whatever. Another thing is, in your letter, you stated it was a good editorial, but in the February you said once you go to Royalton, you're going to turn around and you can knock the service charge down to $1.50, where we're paying $1.65 now. You had said that we don't have to incur that. Yes, that was said in your meeting where you would pay $1.50 instead of the $2.65.
$1.50 on what?
on the service per the 1,000. Where right now Medina pays, we're paying 565 for Medina. The markup. You had
Okay.
made the
No,
remark,
I
the
understand
markup,
what you're- I understand what you're saying. Okay.
we'd only do $1.50 if we went over to Royalton. Well, if you want to save us money, charge us $1.50 now. Well, don't wait till we get all this contract done. You want to save us money, knock that down. But on top of that, people need to understand when you reduce that, you're losing $1.10. Well, you have to make it up somewhere because you're used to getting that $1.65. And I don't see this being feasible. And I go along with what he says. I don't want to occur any more than what I'm paying up on Furnace Parkway within Shelby. And Mr. Waters, his is paid off. He pays $25. Now, is his service fee going to go up? You know, over?
He's on a, no, he's on
When
a,
Jason Foote was in here, he said that we're going to try to level everybody's service off. So that means Mr. Waters is paid off. Is his going to go up? Mine's paid off in 2029, my 8125. Now, I don't want to incur any more on top of mine. And these people need to understand when they get done doing all this infrastructure, whatever bonds they have, they still got to keep paying on that bond. Then you're going to add another payment on top of that. And I just don't see where you think $4, $5, $6 million is going to suffice us. I mean, my water bill, I'm happy with it. It's my surcharge. That's all I have to say.
anyone else? Yeah, just to, Mr. Ike.
Good evening. I just want to piggyback on what Jeff just got through saying. Can you hear me now? Okay, good. We had a dairy farm up on Freeman Road. We got out in '06, and we had water up there probably, I'm going to say 10 years prior. I was on the Shelby board here when they went through. And we had no problems with water quality up there. We had 400 head of cattle feeding off of that water line. We had no problems with chlorine or nothing. Now that the cattle are gone, we got out in '06. Now that the cattle are gone, if you would come up and just watch the water going down the ditch for maybe 8 to 10 hours a day to get the quality of water coming up through the line where it's supposed to be at, and then they shut it off. It's a lot of water being wasted. And Jeff made the comment, and he gave you the figure, and that is an exact figure. It's depressing to see that water go down the ditch. So if we can come up with a solution to do away with that, go for it. That's my comments.
Anyone else? Okay. Just to put the rest, when CPL made their presentation, that was with pipeline. Pipeline doesn't have to be considered in this project at all, so there would be no cost. We've already got Freeman Road. We already budgeted last year that the board approved for another vault on either Johnson or West Shelby. There's no additional funding than what's already been budgeted for. We don't have to put any more pipelines in. 150 grand, yeah. We don't have, that proposal for that $3 or $5 or $8 million or whatever it was, that was for Sanderson Road, part of Martin Road, and some other roads. Pipelines don't have to be put in. If we can do this, turn on Royalton water, whenever the board decides to do that, we have a fresh influx of chlorinated water, so we're not dumping 2.5 million gallons of water. And we're still gonna keep Medina water. We're already working with Medina. We've been negotiating with them since January. No, how long have we been negotiating with them, Jeff? December. We meet with Medina constantly to negotiate water rates. So we can get, I don't see what the problem is if we're not spending any money. We've already got the connection. We've already budgeted the money for this, and water is self-serving. The money that goes into water stays in the water. Your service fees stay in water. They don't go anywhere else. So If we can pay for this out of our own water budget and what we've already got budgeted at no additional cost to the taxpayers, and cut our water rate in half for at least part of the town, get a flat rate for everyone in the town instead of a step, $50 to start, then 9, then 8 per thousand. I don't know why anyone wouldn't want to do that. It save on water. So that's just what we're trying to do.
What you're doing isn't gonna affect anybody on Furnace Parkway or this area here. It's only out there, because I get mine from the village.
Yeah. So that's the balance. We have to make up the balance between Royalton water and Medina water. There has to be a flat rate where the town's going to take it in the shorts. We're going to have to drop Medina's water, which they already told us they're going to drop our water rates. We don't know how much. Our service charge in Medina, we're going to have to drop to the minimum, and the service charge to Royalton's going to have to be a certain level, because Royalton's going to make up what we're not making off of Medina, but it's still going to be cheaper for everyone in the town. That's what we're shooting for, and that's what these studies got to be done for. So, as long as you, yeah. Okay, let's move forward on this. There's no old business. Highway report, Dale.
Good evening. Welcome back, Jeff. It's been a while. Tonight we'll start off with a snow update. We went out 5 times since the last meeting, and in recent days we've taken 2 trucks apart, and that felt good. We still have 3 suited up and ready to go for just in case. After our trip to Albany to lobby for our CHIPS money, we met again with Senator Ort and Assemblyman Hawley to reiterate our position on this. No budget has been passed yet. No further information is available at this time. The men have been busy cleaning plow turnarounds and yards affected from plowing. We will continue to monitor. We've been out checking any damaged road signs and repair them. If you notice one, please let us know. We were able to get county stump grinder and clean up from tree cuts. We will be out to address any hole left behind. Had a few burials to attend to. Had an opportunity to get the village vac truck to clean out the shop drain. Thank you, Ben, Brad, and Jason. The town of Barry, through shared services, came to Shelby and started working on reprofiling dirt roads. Thank you, Tom and Mr. Brooks. We have good neighbors. We've been able to replace more water meters in town. We seem to be at that point that previous meters are failing from age. Been tending to stakeouts and monitoring water vaults. As you can see tonight, the new chairs have arrived, along with the TVs, and the men have cleaned out the old ones and replaced with these. I want to thank Stacy over in the Ridgeway Court for being instrumental in getting a grant to pay for all this, and no money from the town of Shelby was spent. The weather permitted the men to go to Shelby Basin Road Cemetery and cleaned up the outer perimeter of the property, a little more yet to finish, plus the never-ending stacking of e-waste. Normally, I would end it there, but I want to convey to the board and the residents that, for the most, they already know of the sad news befallen on the town. That is, on March 20th, one of our most distinguished citizens, Robert Bracy, passed away. The man epitomized what a Shelby resident could be, always at the ready to help and being involved, and was considered the godfather of Shelby. You will be missed by many. Thank you.
Thank you, Dale. Up, Julie. Assessor's report.
Good evening. Not much has changed in the last month. I've closed out some more building permits, met with some residents, and processed some new transfers. So, pretty quiet.
Thank you. Planning board, Kirk.
Yeah, to start off, we welcomed our new member, Mark Irving, to the planning board as our alternate. Gave him one of our regulations book and told him that he has to memorize it and we'll be testing them at our next meeting. The other thing, I informed the planning board that the wind project out on South Gravel Road has pretty much come to an end. And finally, June 11th is a 4-hour training being put on by the state at Hogue Library from 5 to 9. It will involve the comprehensive plan and the going over the planning view review, and the rest will be filled in with question and answering with the state. That's it.
Kirk? Code enforcement.
Well, I don't have a report for March because I was in Florida on vacation, but I'll kind of give you a year-to-date. I've issued 9 building permits this year, 2024. I received 1 complaint, it was just a week ago, and I've acted on that complaint with a violation letter. To date, I've issued 33 violation letters. I'm going to give a list to the board members, spreadsheet. So these are as follows. I issued a violation letter for for operating a junkyard without a permit. 7 for not keeping the exterior of your property in a clean, safe, and sanitary condition. 25 of them were for more than 1 unlicensed vehicle. The procedure in this is, I've been driving the town. If I see more than 1 unlicensed vehicle, if I see property maintenance issues, I'll issue a violation letter. It's got some strong language in there. The Department of State's requiring me to issue what they call an order of remedy. It gives you 30 days to correct the violation. But what I like to do with my violation letters, I expect the violator to contact me by phone, and what we do is I try to negotiate a deal, so to speak, where I give them time to come and become in compliance. Some residents won't contact me, but they'll correct the violation. So I'll have to drive out, and I say, well, they've got it corrected, but they never bother to call me. Non-compliance is not an option. If the residents do not contact me, I will issue an appearance ticket. I had 1 court appearance last month. I have 2 coming up the 16th. Are there any questions?
List of, like, where's your cutoff point?
It's not done yet.
Okay, so I mean,
I
you've
have a
done
few more.
half.
I've got West Shelby Road to do, and I got to tell you, there's going to be some that fall through the cracks. I mean, you drive the road, and sometimes you don't see things. So sometimes the public will bring things to your attention, but I think there will probably be a few more, and it's always with property maintenance going to be an issue. So.
Thanks, Dan. Okay, resolution to approve the town clerk's report for March. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second? Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Aye. Approved. Carried. Resolution to approve town board minutes for March. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Carried. Resolution to approve special meeting minutes for March 28th. Is there a motion?
So move.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution to approve supervisor's report for November. Is there a motion?
So moved. I second.
Discussion?
The version I have still is showing a November ending balance not agreeing to the December starting balance. If you look on the website, the ending balance for November does not agree to the starting.
Do you have the wrong one
Can
up, Darlene? Yeah, you probably got the wrong one. We sent the wrong one out originally. I sent the new ones to the board.
And I looked at that one, and that one still is, that's the same as the one that's on the website, so
Send
I
another
think
one
you
out.
must have attached the wrong one to the email, because it doesn't.
No, I made sure that everything was, numbers matched.
I'll show it
Okay.
to you.
No, maybe the wrong one did go out. I'll check. Okay, any further discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed?
Opposed? No.
Okay, that's carried. Resolution to approve supervisor's report for December. Is there a motion?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Discussion?
No, same reason.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
No.
Okay, that's carried. We did not send out a January report, Miranda, because it's not finished. Okay, so we need to. Do we need to table that, Jeff? Can I get a motion to table the January supervisor's report resolution?
Motion.
Second?
I'll second it.
Is there any discussion? The reason, oh, I sent you the email, okay. All right, all in favor of tabling the January supervisor's report? Say aye.
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 Opposed? That's carried. Resolution to approve to pay the claims against the town? Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
A second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, can you explain to me again about the report, the revenue and expense reports not being available?
You want to say it, Miranda, the correct way? Please come up to the microphone, because I won't explain it correctly, even though I've heard it 100 times.
Because we can't close the reports, Williamson will not let you generate a expenditure revenue report unless the journals are closed.
And when do we expect that to happen?
When I talked to Joe, I gotta make sure I say the accountant's name right, Joe, he did not want me to close anything because he is working on our 2023 audit. And it should be closed by the end of this month.
And who is Joe?
That's our accountant,
From what?
Allied. Because of how badly Deborah set up our accounts, even Williamson is trying to correct them because he said they were not set up correctly. So he's working with Joe to correct everything that was wrong.
It just seems excessive to me that it's taking this long for Williamson.
It's a brand new
8
program
months.
to us, even though it's a year. And unfortunately, from the very beginning, it was set up incorrectly.
But we've been talking about this since
I understand that. If you
August.
think you're frustrated, I'm frustrated. I'm the one that deals with it every day, every single day.
They wouldn't even acknowledge it till
Okay, I just wanna-
like June.
Yeah, well, that's my point. Since August or September, we have been hearing that Williamson, I think we need to be
And I
able to
think
put
with the
some-
year end,
Can I finish,
that's the
please?
problem. We have to get the year end done first, and then we can look at it. But unfortunately, till the year end was done, we can't look at anything. And that's what we're seeing is when she set everything up, there were numbers that were incorrect that she inputted. So that's why when Joe, our accountant, went through 2022, he looked at our 2023 beginning and he said, I don't know what she put in there. It doesn't make sense. So that's why he's working with them now to correct everything so that we're actually matching what we should be and everything's the way it should look.
I understand that. What I'm saying is, it sounds to me like we paid $70,000 to $80,000 for software that it's taking.
Because
when,
of one
when the
bad egg.
problem was found out, which sounds like it was somewhere around August, maybe a little earlier, we are 7 to 8 months into a company that's not fixing the problem. I've never dealt
I
with
am
a software
not going to
company
do a
like
new
that
accounting
before.
program. It was too hard to try to do this one. It's not that easy to do a new accounting program. They are not simple. It is not easy to learn. And it's awful. It's not easy. I'm doing the best I can to make sure that it's done. But it's my butt on the line. It's not anybody else's. So I want to make sure those numbers are correct because everybody behind me makes comments when stuff is incorrect. You make comments when they're incorrect. I understand that. But I'm the one that has to deal with it. So I'm the one that wants to make sure everything is correct. And that's what I'm doing. I'm not going to give a false report. I'm not going to give a report that's incorrect. And I'm sorry that it's taking this long, but I want it correct. I want to make sure that when I hand the report in, it's the exact numbers.
Okay, I don't think anywhere was I ever saying that you should give us incorrect numbers.
I didn't say
What
you
I'm
did.
saying is, have you spoken to them?
Yeah,
And
they
you're not
can't make
getting
the
anywhere?
changes till, when he did our 2022 audit, our ending numbers for 22 and our starting numbers for 23 didn't match because she put the wrong accounts in the wrong accounts. The girl that no longer works, the one that was fired, took however many accounts we got and mixed them all up. So now the accountant is working with Williamson, now that he's finished 2022's audit, to make sure those numbers match to the end of 2022, so 23 will come out.
But they have been telling us for months that this is going to be cleared up in a matter of, or it is cleared up, or in a matter of weeks. We are, New York state law says, right, that we are supposed to get financial reports every month. Williamson should be, there should be something here that we can do with them to be able to see financial information. And I'm not saying it's the town. I'm saying it's
trying.
the software or the company. But something needs to be done to them, or somehow we need to put a little more pressure on them to get the information we're supposed to have.
I think we ought to invite one of the representatives in here
Good idea.
and go over all this, like at a workshop, and find out exactly what the problem is, as far as I'm concerned. If they got an issue, then they ought to start paying paying a little bit of money back for his
Thanks, Brian.
software.
I'll get a hold of him this week. Where is my? Oh, it's on the back.
I got another comment regarding the public reviewing bills every
We've
month.
got a motion open, Ed. Hold on, let's
Oh.
do the motion first. Okay. Any further discussion on claims against the town? Okay, all in favor of paying the claims against the town, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Abstain because we don't have the right reports to be able to audit the claims.
You can't take the budget, subtract January's bills, February's bills, and March's bills?
No.
Okay. Motion's carried. All right, we have a resolution to renew the janitor contract with White Glove Service. They're our current janitorial service, and we are allowed to renew for 3 years on the contract because it's less than $11,000. Yes. Yes. So the resolution to renew the janitorial contract with White Glove Service. Is there a motion?
I'll give a motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, discussion. Linda, you got any input on this? Are you guys good with that?
Yeah.
All right. All in favor? Say aye.
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 Opposed? None. Motion's carried. Okay.
We skipped the mowing.
Now we're gonna do mowing right now.
Oh. Oh, okay. Sorry.
That was way above. Okay, resolution to approve the mowing bid for Sunshine Lawn Service and snow removal to mow these, town cemeteries. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's open for discussion. You guys, we got three that we can actually contend with.
I see one here is, probably a couple thousand less than, Perry's Lawn and Maintenance.
Yeah, Perry's is 41.4,
Right,
Sunshine is 43, and budget is 43.7.
right.
And I know a couple of the citizens, we can choose, because these are so close, it was explained to me that we can choose any one of the three. And we have experience with Sunshine Lawn Service. I know a couple of the citizens said they were extremely happy with them because they maintain the cemeteries really good. So,
Now, who do we have, this past summer?
he did not put in a bid. That was, Timothy Newton Enterprises, yeah.
So Dale, just a question. On Sunshines, it says a total of 26 cuts. Is that a concern? Would there be any reason why we would go over that number and be charged extra, or?
I believe it's more of 26 paid periods. Starts May 1st, goes to October. So that would be 26
Okay,
weeks, wouldn't
It does say 26.
Yeah.
Is there any reason why you'd want to do more than one in a week, I guess, that would create that we'd go over the 26 and that would be like more money?
No, they won't.
There wouldn't
They
be
come once a week and do
Okay.
it to each one, so there's no going over the 26. That's the contract, so. If
And-
he
and-
does, he does it on his own.
Right.
And you ensure that he mows the cemeteries just before the holidays, right? So-
Yes,
so
we
it's not an
always
early
talk
mow. Okay.
Memorial Day, Mother's Day, all those, are, because I'll give him, like August, if he has to do a weed whack 2 weeks in a row to get Memorial Day done, to have those cemeteries looking great, I will look the other way when they burn up in August for a week, so it all stays the same.
Okay, are you guys good with Sunshine?
Yeah.
Ed,
Yeah, I thought he did a good job 2 years ago.
Okay. Jeff, any discussion? Jeff number one, you're Jeff number one. Okay, no further discussion. All in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? None. Motion carried. Contracts awarded Sunshine Lawn Service and snow removal. Resolution to, what did I do with that? All right. Resolution to approve local law number 1 of the year 2024. Local law is to amend the local law zoning map town of Shelby. Establish section 401 Shelby zoning code pursuant to section 112 of the town of Shelby zoning code to revise the classification of 11697 Sanderson Road, identified as tax map 91.1-16 from agricultural residential to district to general business district. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? Has any got concerns or anything?
No.
Ed? Jeff?
Nope.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion's carried. Resolution to approve water supply agreement between the town of Royalton and the town of Shelby. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
This is just, is another outlet of water for us. It's not, we're not changing at the time, right? Okay, I'll second it.
Okay, so it's open for discussion.
Yeah, I never received a copy of that.
Yeah, you did today.
Was that an
When I
email?
got the draft, I sent it out, it was an email. Yeah, there's a copy here.
That was just a couple hours ago.
Did we just talk, I mean, did we just come up with this
I
2
just got
hours
it
ago?
back from the lawyer, yeah.
Well, why weren't, but shouldn't we have kind of seen it as it was being drafted and you had some input or
That's-
talk or?
That's a standard water supply, standard water agreement from Niagara County that we supply, the same one we have with Medina, the same one we have currently with Royalton.
Okay, it came out, I got it in my email at 5:33. We had
Yeah,
our
that's
first
a
meeting.
couple hours
We had
ago.
our first meeting at 6 o'clock. Like, there's no time to get it and review it. I would like to, I would like to hold off and look at it and vote on it at the next meeting. So that we have time to review it.
Okay, what questions would you have?
Oh, I don't know until I read it.
Okay, it's a standard water contract.
I've never seen a standard water contract.
Okay,
I don't do water for a living, so
okay.
Does this have to be engineered before we have any kind of a contract, or?
No, basically, it's an agreement that just says we can buy water off of Royalton if we want to buy water off of Royalton. Doesn't mean we have to buy water off of Royalton. It's just like our contract with Medina. We can buy water off Medina, but we're not required to buy water off Medina. That's the same thing this is. We're allowed to buy water off of Royalton. We're not required to buy water off of Royalton. So this could actually be an emergency backup for the town if the water tank ever went down or if we ever needed extra pressure in the system. That valve can just be opened on Freeman and we would be good to go.
Has the valve been opened yet at all?
When they did the pressure test, yeah. And then you replace that valve? Meter, I'm sorry, the meter. You replaced that meter last month? So that's a new meter in the system?
Yes,
Okay. And that meter was clogged up with,
the screens were.
okay.
So on this here, water agreement, it's just a standard agreement. It would be following like, the town of Ridgeway buying water from Heartland or Village of Medina or both. It's just an access where they can, it doesn't mean we have to get it from them. It's just an access point.
Yeah. It's basically you're allowed to purchase water from us at $3 per thousand until January 1st, 2025. Commencing January 1st, 2025, the rate will be increased to $3.20 per thousand gallons. And in January 1st, 2027, the rate will be increased to $3.40 per thousand gallons. Those are rate increases that are imposed by Niagara County Water, and they will be the same increase. Medina will get those same increases also. So this is a backup supply for us. If Medina ever went down, that water went down, we'd all be out of water. We wouldn't be allowed to, we wouldn't have water. And this is half price of Medina. For just opening the valve, it's half price of Medina.
No infrastructure change or anything.
And what this will do, if we open Royalton, like I asked Chatfield Mr. Chatfield during his presentation, I go, if we open that valve, we're not gonna be dumping 1.2 million gallons out of that pipe. We're gonna have fresh chlorinated water coming in, so we're not dumping all the water that Mr. Ike was just talking about. And he said, yes, that'll save people money, not dumping and the other, what did we dump total last year?
I think what he said was you're not gonna dump it there, but you might dump it in another location. So
dump it
you're
in
gonna,
another location.
it's just moving it from one place to another.
2.36 million gallons total flushed last year. So I personally am comfortable having a backup water supply.
So this water's gonna be commingled with the Village of Medina then, you're talking?
It's the same water from Niagara County, yes. Yeah, comes off the same pipe. That main 30-inch pipe that runs up 31, Royalton just taps into it before it gets to Medina. Same water. And it probably comes a back road through Chestnut
But
Ridge also.
doesn't Medina do something to it? Don't they chlorinate it? I mean, I'm not a water. Is there something done to the water when it leaves Medina and hits Shelby taxpayers?
no matter where the water goes to from Niagara County, it passes through multiple checkpoints to check for PPMs. Same thing's done for Royalton as it is for the village of Medina. Because the town of Shelby owns the water that's in the tank. That's a 3 million gallon tank. We own the water, we do not own the tank. We own the pumps that pump the water. When it sits there, chlorine dissipates. When it sits in a 12-inch line for a mile and a half with nobody pulling on it, chlorine dissipates. So the chlorine coming in from Royalton is basically the same chlorine that goes into our tank. But because it does not sit there for who knows how long, it is readjusted coming out, and it's readjusted at a pretty hot rate in order to make the trip all the way through town to end up over at the end of Freeman Road so I can dump, 2 million gallons out. It's the only way we can keep our chlorine levels up. What little bit of testing we did, yes, we test all over the town, we dump all over the town, but nowhere's near the amount that we do there. You will not dump 2 million plus gallons throughout the town because the population is over here, not up there.
So where is, I'm just trying to visualize in my head. So where is it tested? Where do you,
Well,
water
one
comes in
point-
over here, where is it gonna get tested to make sure that it's
I
meeting the?
believe one point is at where Johnson's and the One-Eyed Jack, over on that road. There's a great big tank there. That's a Niagara County
Yes,
water
yes.
port, and that's what brings it into Royalton. It's checked all the time. There's different checkpoints. I don't know where
But
they all
no, I'm
are.
talking in Shelby. Is it checked in Shelby somewhere? Like, cause you check it when it comes out of the tank up on
The
Maple
village
Ridge
of
Road, right?
Medina checks it coming out of the tank. Coming into Shelby, no.
We check
It
at-
comes
at
in the
dead end point.
transmission line,
Yeah.
and it goes right up to the tank, and when it comes out of the tank, it comes through our meter, our pump, and it's tested then. Point 2 is a good test. Comes out of there at point 9, so we can make the trip through town, where a lot of people get the smell of chlorine. It's because we have a lot of 12-inch pipe, and in the heat of the summer is worse than the cold of the winter. The chlorine goes away. It's tested when it comes into the tank and tested when it comes out to our pump.
Where else is it tested? I think that's what she's asking. What dead ends do we have that where it's tested? Is it tested anywhere else?
For our flushing?
Yeah. Is that what you
We-
were asking, Linda?
We have a test port at Bigford Road at the dead end, but we flush very little from there. We have another test at the end of East Shelby Road before it gets to Genesee County. We do random tests into West Shelby. Wherever there's a hydrant, we just randomly go around testing.
Okay.
We have a list. We keep track of every gallon that we dump and where it was and how much and what day.
So do we know, I'm sorry, do we know the amount that we are flushing in the amount that we're losing on leaks?
If you take the amount of water that we purchase from the village of Medina and you subtract the amount of water that we sell the residents, and then you take out what I have deemed for flushing, you have leaks and fire.
And do we
I
know?
have no way of knowing how many gallons, but a 12-inch pipe is 6 gallons a foot. And when you're at 70-some pounds, you're moving a lot of water when it ruptures.
Well, we should be able to calculate that amount of water.
Impossible, because you don't know the start time.
No, I'm saying if we know what the village is charging us,
Yeah,
and
what we-
we subtract out what we build out, and we subtract out what we
Right.
flushed, what's the number that isn't getting recorded anywhere?
Before we fixed the leaks last year, we purchased 65 million gallons of water. We flushed 2.36 million gallons of water. I can give you a copy of Freeman Road alone, we dumped 1.2 million gallons. So we bought 65 million gallons, we sold 34 million gallons. We lost 28 million gallons of water. This was before we fixed that major leak under Oak Orchard Creek.
Yes.
And the other ones on West Shelby Road.
So you're saying we lost 28 million gallons?
Yes.
just leaking?
28 million
Well, I
gallons
know where it went. It went down Oak Orchard Creek.
And 2.3 million
was
for flushing.
For flush, yeah. Yeah. Now, once he fixed that leak on Oak Orchard Creek, what was the savings that quarter? 50 or 60,000?
I want to say,
It was huge.
I don't
huge
remember
savings.
off the top. It was a lot. It was a lot.
It was the loss of water was $169,000 last year. Is what we lost. So, finding that leak,
So you're saying the 28 million at 597 of
yeah, come out to 169,965.
My theory is if we can turn the flow of the water, if we can, there is a very large draw in the northeast corner of the town. And that would draw the water over. There's a big dairy farm there. Cow drink 50 gallons a day? More than that. And I know he's milking about 200 and some cows, so you got 400 or 500 over there that are drinking water. I don't have anything on this side of town that draws the water, that consumes what we might want to flush.
Phil Kepler.
Phil Kepler pulls a lot of water, but he's right in the center.
Yeah.
No, his water doesn't come from that pit. His water comes around from the tank.
Chances are, Dresser's water is gonna be coming from the village of Medina, because you're not gonna have enough pressure from, Royalton to push it all the way from Royalton. to
You're
Medina.
speculating and I'm speculating. We won't know until we
Oh,
do
I'm
something.
not speculating, I want, facts.
I do too, but I think that a reasonable theory would be to start and get to a certain point, reevaluate and go to the next point if it's financially feasible. If we have two connections in there, you've got two 8-inch lines now at 100, 110 pounds. You're going to take it someplace.
Does a study need to be done before we turn on water? We don't think that
No.
there's any,
There is absolutely no difference in the water from Royalton as there is from the
I'm not
village of
talking about,
Medina.
I'm not talking about quality of water. I'm worried more about pressures and we heard two.
We've been testing. We tested with Jason Foote. Mr. Chatfield did not contact us or open one fire hydrant before he gave that presentation.
His presentation was only meant to come in and try to get information to be able to do a quote for a study, which he sent us an email looking for the RFP. Did we send that back to him?
I gave it to Kathy. She just got it back to me. So it'll be going out this week.
I'm not an engineer. I'm trying my best to help the people that elected me to give some relief from something that was greatly elevated 5 years ago. And I don't know, I know you don't know what the huge problem is. I will never do anything illegal. I would never do anything to jeopardize pressure. But if we don't do something, we're never going to save a dime. And it's the same water, and we've checked pressures. We can move it. We know that we can move it through the tests.
But I'm curious, is the water bills, as John Paradas stated, his water bill, just for water usage, you said, right, was what, 170? Okay.
You wouldn't mind paying $130?
I pay $63 every quarter.
You're on the village, right?
Correct. So
Okay.
you're out of the village and you're saying your water bill's higher than mine, and it's really not. I'm paying $240 a year.
But you're paying for water in and water out, that you don't have the water out? The Village of Medina has
sewer, you're
charges
talking
in,
sewer.
charges out.
Correct, I don't have sewer, I'm on a
But
septic.
are you being charged the same as people that have a water line that goes in front of their house still pays the surcharge whether they're hooked up to it or not?
My
I
bill-
don't know.
I don't either. My bill does not say anything about
We checked,
a sewer charge on there, because they
We
know I'm
checked.
on a septic.
we checked quite a few bills from 2023, what was actually billed to actual residents. And when you take the surcharge out for the construction of the line, just water usage, they were averaging about $8.17. That's what the residents were being charged. Your price per thousand is, I don't know.
I don't either, because I
I've had
have,
people come to me complain about it. Personally, before I retired from the farm and sold it, we move a lot of water spraying. We're forced by DEC to use potable water to spray. We cannot draw it from a pond or a creek.
Okay, that's neither here or there. You got more questions for him, Linda? Anything else you want to
Yeah, I
know
got
about
a question. Now, what part of the town is on village water? Is certain like.
We're all on
Furnace
Village
Parkway?
Water.
he means directly from the
Directly
Medina.
Medina. You got Furnace Parkway, right? They're out of Medina?
No.
Does Furnace Parkway get billed
We
by us?
bill Furnace Parkway.
Okay.
They have a pit right in front of Charles Street that goes up into Charles Street and Furnace Parkway.
But they get the water right off the main from Medina. That's what I think he's
We all
asking.
do.
Yeah.
That's a foregone conclusion. There's numerous ports of water. It doesn't all come from the tank. Tank is a big part of it, but there's certain points coming through 31 from Middleport that there's water vaults and direct connections to the transmission line. Some of them go up Shelby Basin, some of them go up Hoffman Road. One of them is right here on Saltworks Road, one on Charles. And then Paul Gray is the last house that we bill. Steve Fuller is Village of Medina bill. All that corridor is the village. Goes all the way up to the tank, goes underneath 31 into the tank before we get our hands on it again. So it's all village water.
I think what he's saying is, you're talking about off the main, there is a transmission line that comes off that goes out into Shelby. And Ed is saying you're getting, Furnace Parkway gets their water directly off the main, not through another method that goes around.
Well, that was the easiest
Shelby.
way to
Correct.
do it, was
Yeah.
put a
Yeah,
water
that-
vault and tap the main. Yes,
Yeah.
like I said, there's multiple of those. It's a kind of a complicated system.
So they're not gonna, if we ever get it from Royalton, they're not gonna benefit the cheaper water, right, from Royalton?
Some people will not, correct. But there'll be a blended price to include everybody.
That's why we're negotiating with Medina to get a lower
So
rate.
we budgeted $150,000, and then people are paying for this water study and everything, and they're not gonna benefit from it.
I budgeted $150,000, doesn't mean I'm gonna spend it all. But I cannot come back to you people and get more money if I needed it. Because it's budgeted doesn't mean that it's to be spent. It could still be there December 31st.
Okay.
I think we're kind of walking away from the resolution here. We're not here to change our water supplier. All we're doing is asking that we can sign an agreement, so if something happens, we can purchase water from them. It's not like we have to put and transfer this from Medina. We're looking at, if something happens from the Village of Medina, we're paying $6 a thousand from Medina, and we can get it from Royalton for $3 a thousand. You know, that's quite a savings, even though I know there's other charges to go with it. But once again, I think we're just getting away from the resolution as far as just trying to make an agreement with them, so if something happens.
We could take it as an emergency water supply, a backup water supply in case something happened to Medina. We don't have to purchase water, but we have the opportunity to do it, and I think we should move forward with the opportunity to purchase water from Royalton.
And I just would like to read it first, that's all I'm saying.
Any other comments? Jeff? Steve? Linda? Eddie? Okay, all in favor of, all in favor of the resolution to approve the water contract between the town of Royalton and the town of Shelby, say aye.
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 Linda?
I'm going to abstain until I've had a chance to read it.
Okay.
I'm also gonna do the same.
Okay. Motion is carried. And the bid proposal, it's gonna go out this week to both engineering firms. Okay, we're open to board comments. Jeff, any comments? Steve?
I got something for Dale. I had a couple guys ask me about edges of the roads that have been breaking off. I told them we were probably gonna be patching them with hot mix or cold mix or something. I just wondered where you stood on that.
Yeah, we have every intention to do a survey, and the blacktop plant should open up in 2-3 weeks. The whole idea is to use black mix because it stays longer. It doesn't plow off as easy. We know we've identified quite a few spots, but yes.
Months ago, you mentioned something about updating the software for the water meter readings. Do we
You guys, I brought it up, and it never got approved by the board.
No, didn't we vote to find different sources?
the last email I have, I believe, said you were looking for some more information. We were going to try to get more
This is
from.
a program upgrade that we spent
Yeah.
$10,000 on the program four years ago or better. And as with most any programs, there's upgrades, and the upgrade is whatever the charge was that I provided you. And we need to eventually make a decision as to whether or not. Now, to buy a program for a different meter is not going to work.
So this particular meter only works with this one software? Okay.
Mhm.
Yep.
Is that the water meters in the house or the hand?
Water meters in the house.
Oh, okay.
When we drive through the town collecting the reads, we use their specific program that reads their specific meters.
Okay.
And we all have one type of meter and
Yes.
all the.
Yep. Yep. We only buy
So
the
we have
one.
to use their meter reader
Yep.
to read those meters.
Yep.
It's not cost effective, I take it, to replace all these meters. We're replacing meters now, aren't we?
Yes, we are. They time out after 20 years, and the newer meters, the program that we have, will always read the oldest meter. It'll just do a better job with the newer meters, gives you more data. There's like a 90-day look back. Somebody calls me and they're excessive water, I can go back, get the meter loaded onto the computer, and I can see everything every day, where the usage started, where the change might have been.
So does the software have like an annual, do you have like an annual maintenance thing that and upgrades become part of that if you pay annually, or no, you just upgrade it when
It
it's?
just comes every, I don't know. I haven't been here all that long to know. This is my first
Okay.
program upgrade.
And you said it was 7,000 roughly?
I believe that's about what it was. So, yeah.
Okay.
What do you guys want to do? You want to wait till next week? When is that, when do we have to do that?
There's no gun to your head, but he'd like it done by June, if we're gonna stay in or not.
So we can do this in May?
Well, we don't have much of a choice to stay in, right? If we don't stay in, then it's replace the meters so we have other software?
And it's gonna be the same problem with any other, process you go through.
Okay.
It's all the same thing.
Do we hold off on that, or do we do that tonight? I don't know the exact figure on what that was.
Can you get us the quote again, and then maybe we can put it on the agenda for the next meeting?
Oh, yeah, you can have it. I mean, you want it tonight, I'll go over and get it, but, it'll just take me whatever it takes to walk over there. We can just do it at the next meeting. That'll be fine.
Yeah, okay. We'll do it at the next meeting. is make sure, give that, the figure to Darlene so she can put it on the resolution, or give it to me, I'll make sure it's on the resolution. Okay, Linda.
Yeah, so did you say when did you say the 2023 audit? We're expecting that
He was, end of the month?
end of the month.
He said hopefully by the end of the month, yes.
So is he going to come and present 2022 and 2023 numbers to the board?
I know Kathy was taking care of that. She was talking to the partners. She said she was gonna talk directly to the partners of the accounting firm, so I have not heard back from her on that.
Okay. And then as far as you said you're going to reach out to MRB and CPL?
Yeah. I'll send them both the projected, the scope of work. Yeah, yeah.
Maybe Mr. Ike can help me out here. It's my understanding that CPL is named in the lawsuit against GDEDC. Is that correct? And if that's the case, not named as somebody that did anything wrong, I don't know if I'm using the right terminology, but they are the engineer for Genesee County, are they not? Okay, I think they are. I'm just concerned if that's a conflict of interest for us to use a firm that is involved in a lawsuit that we are a party.
I asked Kathy that specific question, and she said there is no conflict of interest when it comes to engineers.
Okay.
She goes, that's not a concern at all for engineers. Because when you asked me that the one time, I sent her that email and asked her. Anything else, Linda?
Yeah, so I see when we look at the bills, there's folders for the different departments, but there's also one that says prepaids. What constitutes something that becomes a prepaid?
Anything that the board approves at the beginning of the year. So that board decides, like, utility bills, the cell phone bill, medical bills. I think that's all of them, if I remember correctly.
Was that, I think that was all. Was there any else, Darlene? Cell phone, utility, healthcare? Those are all the ACH?
And the hand punch,
All utility.
the
programs.
hand punch system.
Yeah. That's not working.
And the purpose for using, or doing the prepays is so we don't have the late service fee on a bill by waiting until the board meeting for it to be approved and then putting it in the mail the next day and then it's late. So it saves the town money by doing a prepay if it's a utility bill.
Thank you. You good, Linda?
I'm sorry, one other thing. So I attended the ambulance committee meeting and the Parks and Recreation meetings this week at the village. Not a lot to report. The ambulance committee is apparently receiving a new ambulance sometime at the end of 2024. That meeting, I believe, will be one more later in the year. They'll do a second one. In the Parks and Recreation, the only update from them right now was that Medina Pool is apparently going to be closed for the 24-25 summers. So the Parks committee is going to have to move the swimming lessons over to Middleport, and they're working with them right now. So. Moved it.
Our, just an FYI, this next year, our contract with Medina, our yearly fees is increased, but we can work on that on the budget. Just hit me off the top of my head. I got an email from the village on that, so.
Said to just remind him at the time of the budget that the contribution to the village would be adjusted. Yes.
Are you good, Linda? Ed? Check the batteries.
I was wondering how the the bid process is going with for the building, the painting for the building. Have you sent any bids out or?
Dale, this is the last thing you said Job Corps was gonna?
Been trying to reach out to the Job Corps. They said they would be interested in doing that, but she has not been in for the last few weeks, so she knows to call me. I left messages.
And that won't cost us anything.
No, just like painting this room here.
Okay. Cost of the supplies, no labor.
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
but I'm hoping it's not a for sure conclusive yet, but I gotta talk to her.
Okay.
Also, I noticed we got our new trailer, and I was wondering what's the status on the MEOs with their Class 1, if they got their physicals and their Class 1 permits, and if they are signed up for the class, and how much it's going to be.
Yes, we have talked about it. They're getting their books, the ones that want to do it. I cannot mandate them to do it because that was not a prerequisite in their hire. The cost of it will be the cost of it, and if I can find a place in my budget line to extrapolate the money, that is the way it'll go.
How many, Dale, are going to do the training?
I don't know exactly. One for sure.
That'll give you 2 MEOs and you
Mm-hmm.
that have a license.
And you.
Yeah. And Steve. You got one, right, Ed?
Yeah.
I will call him in to drive.
Sure.
Thanks, Dale. Anything else, Ed?
Yeah, I got another couple of comments regarding the last meeting, a special meeting. You know, we had a vote on an investigation, and you mentioned it was regarding the CSEA. And I just want to ask, why would we be hiring an investigator when the union can supply a lawyer, an investigator? Then you also mentioned Barry's involved. So if we got to pay for an investigator, I think if Barry's involved, are they going to pay half their investigation?
No. It's a complaint was made against the town of Shelby. The union can investigate the town. We hired, actually it was a labor lawyer from our from Jeff's law firm who's doing the investigation. They're speaking. I can't comment on the investigation because I don't know what's going on. I just know the union can't investigate the town. The town has to investigate the town, have a separate legal team investigate it. And that's on us. The town has to defend itself and investigate itself.
Is the town of Barry going to defend itself also?
There's no, as far as I know, there's no complaints against the town of Barry. And that doesn't concern me. It's their employees that are complaining against the town of Shelby.
That's all I have.
Thanks, Ed. Jeff, did I ask you already? Okay. Phil Kepler sent me a message. He wanted me to read it, like I do for other people that email me. Good afternoon. I was told that you're having a hearing tonight about water for the town of Shelby. We being a user of the water for our livestock operation, as well as our household, anything the town can do to help agriculture be viable. People live here for the green spaces, and it sure would help to keep us financially stable, and that will help keep green spaces open. Please read this if you want to summarize it. Thank you, Phil Kepler. That's all I have. So, public comments. John? Oh, what? I got to hold on. John? Wait, I do them in order.
Yes, John Parada. I called last week, and I just wanted some information for this meeting tonight. And I called yesterday and it was not available. I guess it's in in your hands. I was asking, all I wanted was the rates for the 13 districts. What's the different prices? No, I didn't email. I called the clerk's office, the water clerk. And she said that she had gone to you and Dale, and you said,
Yannick,
yes.
I emailed you at 1:39 today, sent all that information to you. It's right here's the email. Right there.
Okay.
I made sure you got it before the board meeting.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks, John. Mr. Hemingway.
It seems to me by not having these financial reports, and we've been talking about this for months and months and months, and not getting a solution, that the town is failing its fiduciary responsibilities. One of the major reasons that this board exists is to handle tax dollars and respond to the public and to itself on income and expenditures. And when even board members can't get an answer about what the money is, where it is, what are the balances, what are we paying, it seems to me that the board has failed miserably in its primary responsibility. I sure hope you guys can get this settled soon, because this has been going on for months and months, and I don't see an end in sight.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Pratt.
Yes, I read your letter in the hub, and I've just got kind of a comment on the last sentence, which says, "I urge you to get involved, attend board meetings, second Tuesday each month at 7 p.m., or watch the meetings on YouTube. Let your voice be heard." And then we come in here, and I just sat there and kind of chuckled to myself. We got one of the bailiffs over here running the clock at 3 minutes. Mr. Smith, he got cut short. It seems like if you've got to let your voice be heard, it should be more than 3 minutes. It should be within reason what it takes to make your comments. Let's see. How about the ARPA funds? Have I got a copy of that yet?
Not that I should be answering. You want to stop by tomorrow, I'll get you a copy of it.
All right.
Because I've just been busy with other stuff. I apologize.
All right.
That's on me.
All right, now this, and we're talking on the water, and I'm just kind of got a question. I think Linda touched on it a little bit. We're getting water from two different sources. Seems like you would have to have backflow preventers and other hardware in line to keep these two. Granted, the water is all Niagara County water, but how do you know who's getting billed for what without having valves in it to segregate the water? And if you do that, like you commented earlier, it's going to be hard to. You do away with one spot for bleeding off excess water, getting the bacteria count down, and you've just created, maybe you get rid of one, you might create two. Who knows what's going to go on here? And another question that just kind of dawned on me, how many people are paying the minimum amount for water where it's not really going to affect their bill? You know, there's some people out there, older couples, one person in an apartment, they may be only paying their minimum payment, so it's not going to affect them one way or the other. And then to touch on it again, like Dale forgot it this time, Dale in his report, maybe I didn't hear it, he always mentions e-waste. I'm going to mention water down our road again. When are we going to get water down our road? You're making a big production out of making water cheaper, getting it cheaper for people that are already got water. But I don't hear a damn thing about people that haven't got water, not just us. Seems like to me you'd be making the whole thing, everybody in the town of Shelby that wants water should have water. And that should be a priority of the whole board. Thank you. Right on time, even.
Thanks, John.
Like a sledgehammer.
Charlene?
Okay, I'm Charlene Pratt, and I'm going to finish where my husband started. You guys all know that we have not had water for almost 2 years. I don't know how much more we can take. For some, it might not be nothing, but I'll tell you, just come and follow us with what we go through. And it's very disheartening for us to hear about new water lines coming in, coming down Martin Road, coming down from Sanderson Road all the way down and then shooting right down to Bigford Road and leaving our section out. And continue on down to East Shelby Road. That's all you got to do is continue on the whole Martin Road. That's all we ask. We don't want water. We need it. It's not a case of us wanting it. We desperately need it. I'm so tired of my husband going 3 times a week over to our daughters to get water. It takes 2 to 2.5 hours to do this process. I can't take much more of it. I've about had it. I mean, please, if you guys don't know what it's like, please come to our house and see. We will show you what the process is. I stood up here 2 years ago this October and told you how it was for us, and it has not changed. I love my home. I love the town of Shelby. I cannot keep going on like this. It breaks my heart when I see him pull out of the yard with a white van. And I know in 2 hours he'll be backing into the garage again. I'm there to turn the light on, help him back in to get the thing hooked right to get into the basement. I can't take it. And then hearing you guys talk about water to get a cheaper rate. I'm happy for you guys. But you know what? There's more of us there in town of Shelby that need water. It's a safety feature. We need it. It can't go on. And please, I think of you guys as my friends. And if you think of me as your friend, please help us do something about it. You're doing it. We were actually District 13 back in 2017. I would think we were still District 13 for water. So please continue on down the Martin Road. Thanks.
Thank you, Charlene. I'm trying. Mr. Rich?
I just signed up in case somebody needed more time.
Charlene?
I would just like to let everyone know that I'm going to be attending the New York State Town Clerks Conference in Albany on April 21st through the 24th. It is something that is budgeted every year for me to go and learn, new things that are going on in the town clerk's office and new programs and new things that other town clerks are doing. It helps you do a better job. And also one more thing, there's been some talk about the audio camera in my office. I do believe that was a big misunderstanding, and I am going to ask the town board to please take the audio part of my camera out of my office, and that would make me happy. And I know there's some things that we do in my office that are confidential, like wedding certificates or marriage certificates, and it does have dates of birth and social security numbers on. Sometimes people have to tell you what they are because you can't read their writing. So for that, I'm asking the town board take the audio out, which is something, like I said, I believe it was a misunderstanding. I never did want it. So I thank you.
Thanks, Darlene. Mr. Smith?
Forgot about the clock. I would have gone faster. Just a, final thing. I'm glad you passed that resolution to get the water from Royalton, if possible. I want to, Ed, if you could buy potash for half the price and have it be the same stuff, you would jump at it in a heartbeat. I know my business, anytime I got an input that I could buy for half, I'd be crazy not to do it. And it's pretty easy to do a blended rate for the whole town. So the whole town, no matter where they get their water from, I don't care if they get it from Medina's transmission line, our water tower, or those lines coming down Freeman Road, you can make a blended price. It'll be fair to so everybody enjoys the benefit of it. I don't see any reason to not do that. And, one of the last things I did as supervisor, we were looking at putting water down Martin Road. I think the cost was about $1 million to do that line, and we're talking 3 people. I feel bad for them that it's not done, but that was the reason that the town didn't do it, was because of the cost. And everybody's talking about cost. Well, there it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. John, I answered your question on the information you wanted?
No, I still haven't got the email. I want to submit this FOIL because I don't have the information. I just want it on record.
Make sure this is the right email I sent it to.
Okay. Darlene, would you look that for me, please? The information?
And I can actually print it out for you if you want it before you leave. Is that the right email up top?
Yes, that's it.
Okay.
And I know I looked at my emails like at 3, 4 o'clock. I still haven't received anything.
1:39 p.m. it went.
Okay.
I'll print it out for you before you leave. As soon as the meeting's over, I'll print it out for
Still
you.
on the form on the record.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's see. Mr. Hemingway, we're working on Williamson. There's only so much I can do. I understand what everyone's saying. It looks bad, and I understand it. I'm working with the accountant. We got our 2022 audit. We're clean, even. Everything's good to go on the money. Yeah. Believe me, I understand. Mr. Pratt, and Charlene, I'm trying to come up with something for water for you guys. I understand. I just want you to know it's not falling on deaf ears. So, we're working on it, whatever we can do. So,
Can I just say one more thing to Mr. Smith? Please don't misunderstand that Ed and we voted no against that because we don't want to try to reduce water rates. But what we don't want to do is jump into a project that we find out is going to cost a lot more, and your water rates don't go down, but they go up. It takes a little bit of research and timing to make sure that we've checked all of the information before we make a decision. So all I'm saying is, most people don't sign a contract that they've not read. I just want to be able to read it and understand for myself what's in it, which I think is the responsibility of everyone up here to understand what they're voting on, and I think they all do, and I just would like the same courtesy. I'm not going to speak for Ed, but I would think that's the same. So it's not that we're against it. We just want to make sure we have all the facts for the project to start with.
It's up to you, Linda. You addressed them. Okay. This is the one time. This is a little out of protocol here.
This is the thing I'm trying to get across, is this board in all its various iterations has been working on this for years, trying to get something done. We were told that we couldn't buy water directly from Niagara County or Royalton or anybody, and now that's all seems to have changed. I just don't want to see us miss the opportunity, because we're getting screwed over on our water price. It's no other cleaner, better way to say it. We were, and we have been for a bunch of years. I just want to make sure that we take advantage of an opportunity that's suddenly here. And I understand what you're saying. You need to look at it. I totally get that.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
One more thing.
Oh.
I was wondering, there's a few people in the public that want to view the vouchers, and you said They're supposed to, there's a protocol of wiping I didn't see anything on the vouchers that would be sensitive, really. I don't know.
So I think what was brought to my attention right before the meeting was a question surrounding having residents review legal invoices. Is that what you mean by vouchers? I just want to make sure I understand.
When you say legal, you mean
The
attorney bills?
the
or-
invoices that come from my law firm and other law firms, whoever else you may be working for. So when an invoice, this is typically the way it happens. I'll talk generically, and then if you have something specific, I'll try to answer. When individuals may foil legal invoices for any number of reasons, sometimes just to see what they are, there is a process because the town is a client. There is an attorney-client privilege that attaches, so that any communications that go between a law firm and its client, in this case, my law firm and the town, there are descriptions of every charge, every amount of time. There's a description of what was done during that time, and then there's a charge associated with it. Normally what happens is that pursuant to a FOIL request, or I guess just an informal request, the client, in this case the town, would want to review those time entries to determine whether there is information that is privileged or for other reasons should not be produced to the public. There are a whole bunch of types of information. There's nothing secretive about it. For example, there could be names. If there are employees that were investigated or terminated, if there are other personnel issues that come into play, if there are executive session notes that may be in those bills, those are the types of things that typically are what's called redacted. They're those little black lines that sometimes will show up. So and this just was brought to my attention on my way here. So if it's a question of whether or not someone wants to view a bill, there is no prohibition against someone reviewing a bill, but the typical course of action would be to review them to make sure there's nothing that's either sensitive, private, or attorney-client privilege that should not be divulged to the public.
Who would be, who would be the person that would do that? The attorney? Is that an attorney or?
So what will typically happen, let's just say this, like either I or Kathy Bennett would review the invoices with Scott or members of the board, whoever wants to participate in that process. People may have input or disagree, but because this is the type of thing that I'm used to doing, I would highlight a particular entry and say, this is the concern I have about this, or this is why this shouldn't be made publicly available. And sometimes there's ongoing litigation, so there are reasons you don't want invoices to become public if they say specific things about strategy, et cetera, that may be out in the public.
So are you specifically referring to legal bills from an attorney? So anything other than that, assuming there's no, most bills, even health insurance bills now, don't come with full social security numbers on them. So are you saying it's just like legal bills? And if that's the case, because we do have people in the public that would like to see the bills regularly. So what process do we do to make sure that those are going to be available for people in the town that might want to come and look at them?
Well, if I'm only talking about legal bills.
Okay.
So I'm not sure what other vouchers or invoices you're talking about that people want to see. Typically, they would issue
The bills, just all the bills, like if a trailer,
Yeah, I mean those
whatever,
things.
whatever.
It's really up to the board as to whether you want to make available, the contract for cutting the grass and stuff like that. I mean that stuff is typically available if someone wants to review it. But when it comes to obviously, you mentioned medical. If there are health insurance things, that is not disclosed. There are HIPAA regulations, there are other
I'm
regulations.
talking just like a bill that says what your premium is, like just a
Sure,
premium
I
bill.
think the costs themselves
Yes.
are, that's fair game. I think even the legal bills, it's just a dollar amount, that's even in the budget. So I don't think that's a problem at all. But when it comes to the specific information, obviously things like Social Security, not that that would be in a legal bill, but there are a lot of things that would be, that if someone were to foil legal invoices, and that's typically the way they get the page-by-page descriptions that are the legal bills that the town would receive, those things need to be reviewed. It's called a privilege review. We see a lot in the news. We're all getting crash courses in the law these days.
So the confusion, I think, came when I spoke with the Association of Towns and was told by Lori DeMasi that after the bills are vouchered and the claims are numbered, that they would then go to the board and or public to review. So I went back after this meeting to review the bills, the vouchers, and a public person came back, and as we were going through them, that person was there, and I was feeding bills over after I had looked at them and made sure there was nothing in there. So if that's not the process, fine, but we should get a process, understand, so that people can come in and look at them before the meeting.
If they had,
There were no legal
I'm just
bills
saying,
in
like,
there.
suppose we had a bill from Napa, right? Suppose we had a bill from Napa, let's just say, they would probably, you'd probably have to cover up, I'm guessing, maybe account numbers or something like that.
No,
No?
no, I wouldn't think so.
Especially at Napa. Oh, just put this on my account, here's my number.
Yeah,
That's happened to me.
Yeah, I guess this is a really specific example, so I'm not sure how to address that. But with regard to legal bills, with regard to other types of bills that have sensitive or private information, obviously those things need to be reviewed and redacted if necessary. I don't want to go out on a limb, but what I think was being suggested was, in this term voucher is where I'm focusing. If there is just an invoice with a dollar amount that says, my law firm, Bond Shenick King, $1,000. If that's all it says, that's fine.
Yeah.
But it's the pages that you
Understood.
get. Okay,
Oh, yeah.
just to be clear.
Understood.
So we gotta come up with a policy on doing this, probably. Would you recommend that?
Yeah, we could talk about that to see what's needed, because there are some things in place, so I want to be sure I understand.
Yeah, well, you would think you would have to have these out like the Friday before the meeting or something, so we can go over them, and then it'll give us time to go through them and eliminate what we can't have, or the public can't see.
Okay, anyone got anything else?
Sorry. Darlene's new to doing the bills. She started them this month. There's no way for her to get them done on a Friday. She's still trying to learn the account number. She's trying to get everything processed and done. She just finished them today at what time? 4:30.
Yeah.
So I think you need to give her that time to be able to do the bills.
Plus, we get bills today.
Right. We got bills
you
today
got
in the
bills
mail
today,
too.
right? Yeah.
And we want to make sure
So-
they're paid so there's no fees attached to them. So no, those get waived. We call them, they get waived every time. But they need to be never. That one is always on there and it gets prepaid. There should never be one on there. And I call every time and get it waived. And secondly, there's credit card bills that are on there. Our credit card numbers are on there. Those can't be shown on the bills. So those couldn't be on the public. Those would have to be wiped out. Insurances have our names and information on them. So that can't be out there in the public either. There are bills that shouldn't be out there, that shouldn't be seen until after the board inspects them and then decide what should be public and what can be redacted and then seen.
you get back with me on that? Okay, we'll talk about it. All right. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I move.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. And we're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.